Welcome to the first episode of the Cities Skylines Podcast, brought to you by Paradox Interactive and SimNation. My name is Pablo and I'm here with Jan. Hi, Jan.
Hello!
And this is a bi-weekly podcast of about 20-30 minutes each episode, exclusively dedicated to Cities Skylines. And it's meant to be aired on Wednesdays, ideally, I think, on both the Paradox Extra channel and the SimNation channels. And make sure on the description below you check each other out. Paradox Interactive has really cool games going on there in their Paradox Extra channel, which is made by community, and SimNation as well. We got many simulation games going on here, so make sure you check us out as well. So, I also wanted to add, we are not in any way we're not representing Paradox with our opinions. Opinions are exclusively ours, for better or worse. And but yes, this week actually we had some pretty interesting news. But before we actually jump on that, we have a special announcement. That now you can sign up for the Cities Skylines newsletter at the citieskylines.com. Basically, I mean, you're only gonna get up-to-date information down on your mailbox, which is great. I mean, if you're following the project, but also you're gonna get a Japanese-themed in-game park, not in your house, an in-game park on hopefully launch. There's no date for it, but hopefully on launch or eventually. By just signing up on the newsletter. It's really easy. You can find the link in the description below, and also tell your friends, because the more people that sign up, the more effort they'll put into the park. Like if they have to make the park for more people than they expect, they're gonna keep making it better, more maybe detailed or bigger, who knows. We don't have the details on that, but you know, if you're into that, make sure you tell your friends, because that's a sweet deal. I mean, I personally would love to have Japanese theme park in the city. I'll put it right in the middle of it, and especially, I mean, if you can, like, it's as modular as other parks are. We don't know that, but I don't know. That'll be cool because you could just tweak it and make it your own.
I don't know. I guess actually by the time this is out, we probably know a bit more. This is a bit early information that we got, and I don't know. We'll see how it develops. I mean, as they said, more people sign up, the better the park will be, the bigger the park will be, the more epic the park will be, and I would love to see it become something really good. Especially if you can then plop the specific objects over, so that you can create your own park, which is one of the things they talked about before.
Yeah, which happens with regular parks. So I'm figuring, why not this? I don't know.
Yeah, that would be awesome, because you can then kind of create, you know, your Asia district, or kind of make the entire city sort of slightly more of an Asian feel, because modability is so good that you can, people can mod in Asian style buildings, and then you can just create this huge,
just one step in,
this sort of Japanese metropolis.
Yeah, man, you're getting me excited now.
I thought that was the point.
Yeah,
that was the point. I'm here to make you excited.
Yes, thank you, Jan. And I even had the picture to show and everything. Here it is, where you can sign in the petition. I like it's themed as like, it's a city petition, sort of like you're signing up for. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Just about time they had like a citieskylines.com where we can direct people to. That is pretty interesting.
Yeah, but Cities Skylines needs you.
Yes, now. So go
now.
On. But don't go yet, because we have more stuff to talk about.
Pause, go sign up, and then come back.
Yes.
We'll wait.
We're going to wait. Are we done? Okay. So,
I think they've had enough.
Moving on. We have the new dev diary that just came out, which is, the 6th dev diary. And that is
about the map editor.
The map editor, that's right. I have it right here.
Yeah.
And I have so many things open up right here. And also, we later on just want to really cover up like some highlights from the last stream. I know it's been like over a week, but it's still interesting, and we still want to bring it up in case you haven't seen it. And then just sort of go about what's happening in the community, checking some of the cool threads that are going on. Some are really interesting, and they propose really interesting point of views and some even solutions. More on that later on. How about we just get started?
For those interested,
with,
this is how these podcasts are going to go. We are going to start off with the official news, and then we're going to carry on with the community stuff we find either on Reddit or the forums, anywhere. And we're also covering additional community stuff on our website, and so you can go check that out each Friday. I think we should go through the stream first, and then go into the dev diary. The dev diary is slightly a bit more information, so
we can just skim through the other one.
Yeah, we're gonna go quickly through the stream because it was almost 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and there's a few things that kind of caught our attention. Let's say we actually saw this in a previous stream, that there was a hydroelectric power plant, but it wasn't ready yet, and they didn't show it. But they did show it in this stream. The dams for those power plants are absolutely amazing. Yes. The water mechanics are. I've never seen such good water mechanics. Oh, in almost no other game. There was one game from Dust that had the really good water mechanics as well, kind of on this level.
But no city builder for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't a city builder, but comparing the water mechanics from Dust had a similar mechanic, and it was really good. How the dams work: you place a dam over a river, water accumulates on one side, creates a little accumulation lake, the water level drops down on the other side, and you can see the water flowing through. If you have sewers outtakes above the dam, you can see the sewer mixing into the water and flowing down the rest of the river. So that's all lovingly simulated. It doesn't just disappear magically into thin air. And I know Pablo was really freaking excited.
I love, just the fluid system. I loved it. I still love the rampaging boat that just suicides off the dam. And I could keep playing that because that's just funny to watch.
It is. It's one of those things that's currently alpha, still in there, a bit of a bug, will be worked out. But right now, it was a very funny thing seeing those boats hit that school and then climb up.
That's the way climbing up. Yes.
And then fall down the dam. It was a really good part of the stream.
What else?
What else? Oh, they did talk about industry a bit. This stream was more of a combination of the previous streams as well as a few little snippets of new information. Right. So they talked about the districts again and the various industries, the 4 kinds of industries. They did show a forest industry a little bit more. So we now know that when you designate a district as a forest industry, it creates 2 types of buildings in it. One are tree farms, where you just see trees plop up in a nice orderly manner, and the other one is the sawmill. So we're guessing, and we don't really know because I guess the animations aren't in yet, that we can then eventually see the tree farms being cut down and then moved into the sawmills, which then process them and send them in and out of your town or wherever it is needed.
Yeah.
What else? They talked about
you
roads.
You can name pigs. Yes, what else?
You can name pigs. You can name one bacon. You can name one steak.
Yes.
And you can name the other one prosciutto.
You remember it.
All
right.
Yeah, they talked about roads. I was saying roads. They kind of showed off roads and how the road building mechanic works. It looks really nice. There's no proper snapping, so you have to do roundabouts very visually. Mm-hmm. But once you have a perfect roundabout, you can then take that roundabout and share it on the Steam Workshop, because everything is shareable on the Steam Workshop.
That's amazing. You can share that. That's actually pretty interesting.
It's a nice kind of sort of curated place.
Yeah, it's more like, the community sort of like building up more tools for everybody else to use on their cities without having to know how to mod, right? Because this is just basically making a roundabout, if you may, or other stuff and just sharing it. That's actually really cool.
It was one of the great things about SimCity 4. I did it recently because I reinstalled SimCity 4 and I wanted to play it. And one of the great things was going on those websites is have just hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds of mods. Just going through them, just going, these are amazing.
Right.
Like, these are amazing modded buildings and road tools and all this stuff. And that's one of the things that makes these games really fun, when you have the ability to mod. to do the city exactly as you want it, because
Yeah.
you have this modding community that's bringing it up and allowing you all these different assets that you can place into the game.
Yeah.
So they said that, yeah.
Yeah, especially insist that the fact that many things can be created and shared from within the game with zero knowledge. Like in this case, you wouldn't need even a mod to share a special kind of roundabout. You just share it from the game without knowing how to mod. That is the interesting
really
part.
Exactly, completely sure how the sharing works.
Yeah.
But
they said you could build it and share it. So I'm guessing that.
yeah. I don't know. We'll actually see. We'll see. That's all the information that's going to come out later. They did say they're going to show it off a bit later. But yeah, Steam Workshop integration from the beginning, from the launch, as well as modability from launch, which is really important, which is really, really important. And unlike EA, I'm pretty sure Paradox is going to stick to it by my past experiences with Paradox. What else? Yeah, they did talk about roads. Roads create noise pollution, so do other buildings like industry, train stations, wind turbines, stuff like that. You can build roads with decorations on them that have trees on them. Those reduce noise pollution. So if you have, I don't know, a train station and it's really noisy, and you put a road with trees in between, like avenue or something that has trees on both sides or whatever, and have residential on the other side, the residential will have reduced noise pollution because of those decorated roads, basically.
Right. Nice. I like they bear noise pollution into mind, because that is really important in city design. And that is usually overlooked in this kind of games, but it's not that small of an issue at all.
And it's a very big issue in all cities. The point of noise pollution. Like I can put an example from our capital city, which is not very far from where I live. The old city center is now closed to traffic because there was too much noise pollution for the residents, and they just literally closed it for traffic. It's now pedestrian only.
Wow. See, it is important, kids. Don't noise pollute.
Noise
Stop
pollution.
Crying.
It brings down land value. In real life, it brings down land value, and I'm guessing it does the same in the game, which is because there's more noise pollution, which means that people will less likely want to live there, which means that if you want to sell something there, you will have to sell it at a lower price, and it will be lower quality. And the other thing about roads is that the speed on roads depends on road type.
Right. That is also interesting.
Yeah. And that's basically it. Oh, the parks. Yeah, the parks. That was the last thing.
The tie with the Japanese park. You can get if you subscribe, you follow. Sorry.
Exactly.
No.
If you go and support it on Cities Skylines.
Cityskylines.com. That's the right call to action. Anyway, yes, please move on.
The parks are very interesting. You will have several ploppable parks already designed, but all the park assets you will have individually, and you will be able to plop wherever you want. So, for example, if you have that lovely city block that has a lovely space in between the buildings, like usually happens in these games at some point or another, you can take the assets from the parks and just plop them in, and it will work as a park.
Right. That is really interesting.
And then you can, I'm guessing, share that park.
Maybe. Who knows? Probably.
We don't know, but
yeah,
I'm guessing.
By the
pure speculation here. But that was one of the things that you can share all this stuff, and that they specifically said that you will have assets like umbrellas and benches and lights and paths and trees and flower beds, all individually, and then you can just plop them in, and the Sims will work them. Also, the buildings, as the residential buildings, as they grow, they will use these assets so that they are each different, so we don't have a bunch of repeating. In the stream, there was a bunch of repeating buildings still, but alpha, they're still working it out.
Alpha. So much alpha going on.
And that's it for the stream. We didn't actually. It was a long stream, but they didn't say much. Not much that wasn't covered before. I'll put it that way.
I mean, they did show it more from the simulation kind of side, but yeah.
The one thing, if you delete a dam, your city will get flooded. Parts of your city will get flooded, and buildings that are flooded will become abandoned and will not be used.
Yeah, that is nice though. That they made.
Well, that's something that they're going for. It didn't work yet.
Yeah, we still have submarine cars.
And
yes, that was really cool.
Buildings continuing to operate normally while they were submerged, but yeah, they did show it off.
Right.
So that's basically it for the stream. But we do have a brand new dev diary, and as we said, it's the map editor.
That's really cool. Many were asking about how to make maps and so on, how to terraform, if you may. And this is it.
You can't exactly terraform in-game. There's no God tools, terraform tools, whatever. But you can go into the map editor and do it all in there. The map editor, it has this really nice feature.
It is more complex than simply shaping it, especially when you start looking into the fluid area. But yeah, I'll let you do that.
There's where to start with this is really confusing. There's so much information that's shared with us. It's kind of hard to put it, kind of condense it. The basic point is you can either start with a blank map and then create your own terrain, your own rivers, your own ocean, whatever. Or you can use terrain generation tools, like other programs, or I'm guessing you should be able to actually import a height map from, I don't know, Google Maps or something, and import it into the game. It did seem like that, so you can start with that, but then you will naturally have to go through that and fix it so that it actually works in game, because
you have to make it playable. Otherwise, you're going to be struggling with like small bumps.
Yeah, stuff that works in real life doesn't necessarily work in game. So yeah, you have to make it playable, but it's one of those things. You can do that, which is really interesting. I would love to see. I'd really love to see people kind of do the terrain map of, I don't know, London or Paris or any of these cities that are really iconic without the buildings, and just put it into the game and be like, this is the terrain map of Paris or Rome. Rome is really interesting. It has 7 bloody hills.
Yes, that's a challenge for you.
Yeah, and put it into the game and be like, look, we shared this so you can play it. Like, if you ever wanted to recreate the Rome but better, here you go.
This is it, yeah.
For example. The other thing is that when you're building it, when you're building the map, you get this kind of... Map editor has an in-game checklist.
Right.
Which tells you there are requirements and then recommended settings. So in required, it has to have water, I think. I didn't really look that much. Have
water stream on the center tile or the starting tile, because that's, when you start, you always need to have water. So that is a requirement.
Yeah. That's one of the things. You get the tiles, and then you can start. The map creator can pick if you start on the middle tile or on any other of the 9 tiles or however many there are.
Yeah, it's interesting. It requires have one ship, one plane, one train, one highway incoming, and one highway outgoing connection.
Yeah.
Right. It makes sense.
Then the recommended ones are resources, basically. The resources.
Like, don't forget, maybe you can add this if you want, kind of thing.
Yeah. So and from what I gather, it will remind you if you don't have any of the required ones.
Yeah.
So that's basically the beginning. The maps that you build are actually much larger than the playable area, mostly for aesthetic purposes.
Right.
Because you don't want a city from edge to edge.
Yeah, that looks kind of nasty.
Yeah, it doesn't look that nice.
Like, you have a road that ends in nowhere, just like cars just falling into nothing.
Yeah.
The theory of the Earth is not round. Here it is. See what happens? That's what you want it round. So,
yeah, there's several terrain tools. Raising, lowering, smoothing terrain. I think there's a slope terrain thingy and flattening, I believe. And several brushes for those, of course, several sizes and softness and harshness and roundness and whatever.
Yeah,
there's so many options.
There are many brushes. I like. It's pretty much like you're painting that PNG you could be importing. It feels like, right?
Yeah.
It's like photoshopping on real time.
Yeah, you have so many options. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice.
As we said before, you can import height maps. They need to be grayscale PNG files.
Right.
minimum is 16-bit, apparently.
Yeah, so you have enough detail and difference.
What else?
The most interesting part is the liquids, the fluids.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
I love that. I love that part. Sorry, but there's more. There's more.
When you build water, you do it two ways. You need to have a sea level, which is the main outgoing connection. It's like, the infinite waterway where all your ships go to when they travel to other cities. So you need to have those, and that's a specific tool in the game that you put in. You can make it like, the end of a river, or you can make, just have an island surrounded by water and stuff like that. You can have a lot of these options. And the other way to do it, not to do it, you need to have the sea level. Basically, you have to have it because you need a ship lane. And there's no other way to really make it other than with the sea level.
Right.
And how you do rivers is you have to cut into the terrain already. You have to make river beds or lake beds or whatever, and then in those you place these things that they're calling water spawners. Now the water spawners, you can select how high they go. So basically, if you put it higher, the top of the water is going to be higher. If you put it lower, it's going to be lower. And these water spawners will just spawn water until they reach the height, and then it will flow. So it actually flows real time. You don't just plop it down and 3 seconds later your river is filled.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like if you put if you like
a hose,
if you were filling a bathtub.
Yeah. You just put a hose and just start to fill up like that.
Yeah. So that's how you do it. You put these water spawners. Now, these water spawners, for example, they can spawn water, but they can also be kind of the drain.
Yeah.
They did say that. So you put a spawner if you have a river going into a lake. You put a spawner at the beginning of the river, and then you can put a spawner in the lake, and it will take out the amount of water needed so that it doesn't overflow. So you don't just have a river that overflows everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, what else? There's a bunch of info views. They said it's really important to check the flow strength and direction of the water, which is true. It's something that you need to keep an eye on. If it's too slow, it's going to be a problem. If it's too fast, it's going to be another problem.
It's really technical. Some people are going to really love this. I mean, I'm starting to love this. Yes.
There's an info view in the map editor that shows you the speed and the direction of the spawners. Basically, it's so that you can check that the spawners have a high enough capacity to produce strong enough currents so that the river flows correctly. Otherwise, it could be a problem.
There's also a view that helps you sort of like polish all those, unwanted irregularities, as they put it, that would otherwise make the game too hard to play in the map.
It's the terrain height info view mode. It's one of those modes. It just shows you how high the terrain is. So you can see if you have flat terrain and there's just a bump in the middle for no reason that you don't want there, you can just remove it and you will see it change in the info view. It's one of those things you want to keep an eye on.
Yes.
You can, of course, put in the resources, which you do with a brush.
Right.
The 4 resources: trees, oil, ore, and fertile land. So 4 resources. You can just brush them in, and you can see the terrain change depending on which you have. For example, if it's oil, it's darker. If it's ore, it's more orangey, kind of copper color. And yeah, the fertile land and the trees are pretty self-explanatory, I think.
You kind of see them.
Yeah, and there's an info view that shows them.
Yes. Indeed.
You don't need to necessarily put them in, but it's something that would make the game eventually more interesting, because otherwise
It'd be a desert land.
It wouldn't really be a desert land, but it would just be
no fertile soil, no trees. Yeah. So sad. Unless you live in a place with no trees, I think it's great, and we approve it.
Yeah.
I like my trees, by the way. Yes. What else?
You have to have outside connections.
Yes.
So you can build the outside connections. You can build the highways. You can build the highways inside the build areas and outside the build areas. And then if a player is playing your map and he wants to change it inside the play area, he is fully free to change that highway. I don't think there's any way for you to restrict them changing them. So
as long as he can buy the lot, he can change it.
Yeah, but everything outside those lots, you can't change.
Right.
Afterwards. Basically.
Nice. That it looks really
because
nice.
It's a non-buildable zone, as they call it. It's outside the city boundaries.
Right.
And of course, these are as we mentioned before. Ship. They don't need the ship doesn't need to go into the starting square. The ship connection doesn't need to go in there. The train connection doesn't need to go in there. The only one that always needs to be in the starting square is the highway connection.
Yes. So people can start to move in. Basically, that's why.
And then there were some more pictures of the tools and how it looks when you put in resources and stuff like that. Which looked quite interesting. It changes the color of the landscape, so you can create these varying designs and shades with it.
Yeah.
They did say there are 3 different themes in the game.
Yes,
which they said before, but I can't. Let me quickly find the notes. Now, the one they did the pictures in, the one that they had was the Nordic one.
Yeah. They didn't talk what the other 2 are, did they?
They did ones before.
Oh. I like to have a more tropical-ish kind of thing, if you may. I mean.
Okay, so you have what they said this before. This was on the stream in September. And they said you have the northern one, which is kind of more Nordic and has a lot of pine trees and the lighting will change depending on the kind of region you're in.
Yes.
So the Nordic one represents that, and then they said that you kind of have a southern EU Mediterranean one as well. Kind of like Italy, sort of the Balkans, south of France, Spain kind of area. And the other one is a more dry one, which is sort of Californian-ish.
Or more desert-ish?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I heard about that. Good thing you write everything down. That is really good.
Yeah. Whenever there's a stream, I make notes. And it's always good to keep them.
Just making notes, and I'm like... But that is good.
And Pablo just sits there fanboying and go.
Japanese parks.
Really excited.
That is good, and I'm sure eventually more types can be added. But those are really interesting types to be there. They will change the way the trees look, the lighting. What else does it really change?
Well, it changed basically changes the lighting and the trees and the types of trees that are in the areas. And other than that, they didn't really. Like it changes the soil a bit, but it's more of a theme than anything else. I mean,
but it's perfect that it's there.
It isn't that important for city building, but sometimes you can
get tired, right? Or you don't
always want to.
You want to make
build in a Nordic area.
I mean, if you're trying to make like Italy because you got the right map, right? The right. Sorry, not map. Like the map you would import, anyways, and you got everything in place, you're ready to build, but it looks like it's the North Pole. It just doesn't make sense, right? But with themes, you can make it look like it. So it's you can recreate these places.
Get a closer approximation. Like if I was to build, if we go back to the Rome thing, if you wanted to build a map of Rome, you wouldn't exactly want to set it in a Nordic theme because that wouldn't make sense.
Or a Californian theme.
Or a Californian theme for that matter.
Right. So
that's what we had in the dev diary. It was just the map editor.
Yeah, but I think it's great they covered this now because we were all wondering like, all right, but how are we gonna be making these maps, or are you gonna And they say that there were going to be an editor, and we didn't have the details. And I loved the way they handled fluids, definitely. It sounds like, from a usability standpoint, it sounds like hard, but okay, maybe you have to really invest
I don't know.
to make
From
a good
the
map.
Screenshots, it didn't look that difficult. Like, you have these two options. You plop it in, and then you have this. You literally have sliders.
No. What I'm saying is, basically, I just picture people going like, I'm digging deeper and deeper, but I never reach the water. That's the kind of people I'm saying it's going to be hard for.
That's why it's good to read the dev diaries.
But I mean, technically speaking, I love they had this approach because it's more realistic, right? And it fits the way the game works with the whole fluid system. That it's not just water and that's it. You can change levels and so on with the dams and so on, and you have different speeds and directions.
That is something I said in the stream, asked in the stream a few times, if you can have multiple dams on one river. They never answered it. But if I had the map editor and access to the game, I could test it.
Right? I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
We have to ask.
I have to message Paradox communicator and ask him to test it for me.
Please release information for us. All right. So, yeah.
Please, John. Please.
So we are in almost 30 minutes in. So already, yeah. But we can quickly go over the.
Yeah, we want to, as we said, we want to cover community stuff. So I think if we covered one community topic this week, and then we'll do more next week. We did have the stream and the dev diary already. So if you go with one community topic,
yeah,
I think we'll be fine this week.
Yeah, I mean, we did touch a lot of topics. I don't know if you want. Well, actually, you know what? I can do mine really fast, and then you can just do your topic. And it will
let's just do your topic, and we'll
because
mine
it's really short. It's really, come on.
Fine, we can do it.
Yeah, no, we can fit it in. I mean, really, what I really wanted to talk about is just basically we just went into the forums and look at the threads, and one that I kept following was the bigger and natural farms, right? Kind of post, and many saying how they look small and so on, and they were comparing it to other games. And I mean, the way I see it is just that I mean, sure, they look small. I mean, if you've seen farms, they look small, but they eventually. A developer from Colossal Order, and let me see if I can find that. It was on the third page, I'm pretty sure. It wasn't on the second one. This kept on growing, this thread.
Yeah.
But yes, he said, unfortunately, there'll be no bigger farms available at launch. However, you can choose the industry specialization you want in your city, so if you feel like the farms, are not for you, you can just not have them. Though we of course wish that the little farms can be accepted as they are, and maybe after launch we can look into adding the big farms. And the reason why is really because, I mean, the way you zone things in Cities Skylines is, you first, you draw a road, and then you have like this amount of depth in the grid of how much you can zone, and that's it, right? And you don't even know if that's going to be a farm or an industry or a commerce yet, right? First you zone in as industry, and then you define that area can be a farm. So, it just pretty much has to have the same size as everything else. So they would have to do like a completely different kind of zoning system just for farms. So, or maybe ploppable ones, but then, they will have like fixed shapes, and that'll be kind of sad. So
it's weird because it's, as you said, it's difficult to do with how districts work and how the building areas work. So it's really difficult. I get from where they're coming from that they can't do them at launch, but as I said, they're gonna continue looking into them. So maybe after launch we'll get something. So but yeah, for launch there's not.
And also, it's more not decorative. Sorry, it's an aesthetic thing that sure it will look better, but at least we have farms. There are city building games we don't even have farms, so I don't think this is such a big an issue, especially for like 4 pages. But I agree they're small and all, but I can live with small farms. I mean, given like all the other features, everything the game gets right, this I just don't. Personally, unless you dreamed of having a farm city, then I completely understand you. But that'll be a thing. But oh well. And yes, that is all pretty much about that. So topic.
The thread just kept going on and on and on.
It has reached its 4th page now. But But many
So
people
many
are saying like, well, it's not necessarily the worst thing ever. Some are aware of this. It's not like just a bunch of people hating on farms here, but
No, it's just
you got the mixed
sort
thing.
of a discussion on it, and that's why we are featuring it.
Yes.
Do we really have time to do mine, or should we do it next time?
Yes, we do. Please go ahead.
Please go ahead. Right. There was a topic I saw on the forums. It was the first topic I saw when I was preparing for this podcast, and I was like, oh my God, we have to talk about this because it's amazing. The topic is basically, they're talking about various traffic simulations, because in the streams we had problems where, they would only use one lane and the merging wasn't exactly okay. And like you would have a highway where one lane was full. And this was a problem in Cities in Motion 2 before, and a bunch of other games where they would just literally use one lane while the lane next to it was completely empty. So someone posted the solution to this, and there's a video, and I think Pablo's playing it right now.
I am.
There's a video already built in the Unity engine, which is the engine they're using for the game. And this is sort of a solution, not really a solution, but the presentation / test kind of thing, that it shows that it can be done in this engine, that, intersections work. Now, this is quite a complex intersection.
Yes.
So if this one is managing to work, then I'm guessing it could game. We don't know what they're working on with traffic simulation, because they haven't really talked about it yet. But this was a really good representation of what can be done in this engine, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it looks really interesting, and I really want traffic to be done good. Right.
Yeah, I mean, even if, traffic is one of the hardest algorithms, I guess, they have to deal with. Not entirely sure, but, I do coding as well. And I know this is one of the hardest things to pin down, especially when you have individual cars. They're not just like animations playing off that will disappear whenever you pan off the camera. These guys have to reach somewhere, and they have to find the smartest route. And sure, like, you can see them in the video, sort of like, to go into the next lane and then moving on and so on. And this is crucial for a city to work. And they're still looking into it, but I think it's great the community doesn't just sit down and complain, but instead you see a bunch of people just trying to figure out solutions for them. Maybe like, hey, here's something, maybe this is helpful. And this demonstration here is actually pretty interesting.
It was really good, a really good show of what can be done in this engine. Now, I do believe, and don't take my word for it, that each individual car is simulated anyways.
Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly what's going on there.
Yeah, we're not exactly sure. We know that each specific individual in the game is simulated, so right. Each specific citizen is simulated. But I think the cars are the same, because we've seen them just park in front of houses, not disappear magically.
Otherwise, I don't know how you would connect individual
I'm
people.
Guessing it could be somehow connected to the fact that they're already simulated, that they could, add this additional layer on them that would make them use, at least use traffic rules normally, because we've seen that there was a screenshot on the forums, I think, as well, where there was a big roundabout and everyone was using one lane on the roundabout. Yeah. And, when they were joining the roundabout, everyone was using one lane, and it was this infinite lane that never went anywhere.
Especially because, the way you would code that, like, you have to figure out whether you have to have like one car talk to the rest, like, okay, I'm gonna move there, or have like something else in the code I'm talking about, sort of like be the puppeteer and tell them, okay, one of you guys need to move here, right? Something like that, because all of you are there, and something like that. And I guess that's the trickiest part, when you have to like figure out how to manage that, and bearing in mind that whenever something changes, it changes for everyone in the system, in the network, and that completely changes whatever they were planning to do next. So, but they're working on it.
Yeah,
and people
the mechanics behind it are quite complex, shall we put it?
Sure, they are.
But that's basically what I wanted to show this topic. The links for both topics are going to be in the descriptions below. If you want to read through the topics, because there's a lot of different opinions, we just kind of showcased it. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do this every week. We're going to try to find topics that we really like and talk about every week, every 2 weeks when we come out.
It's funny. I see the traffic behavior one on the farms one.
Oh, it's probably been linked.
It's linked everywhere. Okay, somebody really wanted to share that opinion with everybody. Well, anyways, yeah, I guess that is all the time we have. But yes, this was a Cities Skylines podcast. As we mentioned before, this would be a bi-weekly podcast you can find on both the Paradox Extra channel and the SimNation channel. Links to both channels in the description below. Links to everything we talked on this also in the description below. Am I missing anything in here? Or that's pretty much it?
We just have to point out that this is not an official Paradox podcast. We are doing this as fans and lovers of.
And just posting it on their YouTube.
Yeah.
Without them knowing. Shh, don't tell them.
Yeah.
What is this? Who's posting this video? I don't know. Well, yes, that is all. I'm still I am. My name is Pablo. That is Jan right there. And
I am.
We hope to see you next time. Oh, this is the most satisfying thing ever. We are God in SimCity 4. Wow, that was loud. Oh, you're gonna eat that, huh? You're gonna eat it. I see. What? Nothing. Okay.
And now she is tossing that salad with her... Stop sticking your finger in your ear! Alright, she's tossing the salad with her earwax.
Welcome.
You need to have them both coming out of your nose like this.
I can't, I just can't. Oh, yeah. These road trips, man, are killing me. Anyway, let me know whenever we are recording. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Extended Play. I'm your host, this is Stuart, and that is a fancy, fancy sign. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.